Welcome again. This is going to be an exciting day because it's going to be all about you and all about community. Remember I said we were doing the story of self in the first session and the story of us, what can we do together, in the second session. But part of the second session is also building on what you did last time and the homework that you did. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is remind yourselves again who you are, but this time with your nickname, just your nickname and your school. The nickname that your partner gave you last time. And later in the session, we're going to do your tweets. So if you haven't done your tweet yet on who you are, you need to be thinking about that. And then finally, we're going to do an elevator speech that is more about who you are than what you do, okay? So that when you communicate your vision for yourself to somebody else, they want to follow you. So here we go, come on in. Before we start that, I want to, I think you all have a copy. Did you all get a copy of the note from me about a really fantastic opportunity that's come to you because you are a member of Music City Girls Lead? It is a last-minute opportunity, but it's one I urge all of you to see if your parents can work with you to make sure that you can take advantage of it. On Monday and Tuesday, and you're the only high school group getting this invitation, on Monday and Tuesday of this coming week, the Global South Summit, a convening of 400 leaders from around the world on issues of food and health, world food and world health, looking at innovative ways to address those issues through entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, is going to be meeting at Music City Center. We have been given the opportunity for you to staff that summit and work with the different sessions and the different leaders over the course of those 2 days. It is, I think, an amazing opportunity and resume builder for all of you, and particularly for those of you who have an interest in social entrepreneurship, an interest in addressing issues of food and nutrition around the world, or issues of health around the world. And when I say around the world, we know all change starts at the local level. And so many of the people who will be at this summit are local social entrepreneurs who are competing for a global $1 million prize. And some of you, if you are able to work on Monday, will be assigned to that session where there's going to be an American Idol-like presentation from the 6 finalists and then one of them chosen for the $1 million challenge. Some of you would be assigned to the press room, and others, based on your interest, would be assigned to the different sessions and the plenary. If you are able to take advantage of this opportunity, you will be invited to the final lecture with Fareed Zakaria at 8 o'clock on Tuesday night. So, I know it's last minute. I am hoping that some of you, if not all of you, will be able to take advantage of it. You will see that I'm asking for those of you who might be out of school on Monday, if you can work a full day, but we can also take half-day assignments. And some of you might even be able to get out of school on Tuesday, at least for part of the day, to take advantage of this. So I hope you see it as the really rare opportunity that it is, and we feel honored that we were able to offer this opportunity to you. You will see that I'm asking you before you leave today to tell me if you are interested, and then to confirm with me the times that you might be able to work on Monday and Tuesday to staff this, the Global South Summit. You can find more about it at globalactionplatform.org, globalactionplatform.org, and if we have time today, I'll pull that up and show you more about it. But as I said, I was thrilled to be able to offer you this, and sorry for the last minute, but it came in last minute for us to be able to offer it. I see that two of our speakers have arrived. I am going to go ahead and start with my own health tip for you that has to do with setting priorities in order to support your mental health. How many of you have heard about the big rocks analogy? Anybody? Okay, that's good, because I was afraid some of you had already heard of it. I'm going to ask Karen to come in. Okay, Melanie can come in and start this. How many of you have ever heard of Stephen Covey? Okay, good. Stephen Covey wrote 7 Habits of Very Successful People, and one of his big points is to set priorities and put first things first. And so this is a visual example of what he means by that.
Do you ever feel like you get bogged down in the thick of thin things? Well, that might be analogous to all these little, small things that tend to fill our lives. And they're just little by little, they just accumulate.
I know, but Autumn is the one who was supposed to go first. She's from Lipscomb. I need to know if Stacy talked to her. Okay.
To get all those large rocks in the jar. You're right. I'll describe each rocks as she puts them in. What's that one called?
Q2, planning, preparation.
Right. Planning, preparation, prevention, and empowerment. Q2. That which is not urgent but important.
Right. Can I put this down?
Sure. Okay, the next rock you put in there is called relationships and family. Just trying to make it so she can get them all in there on the assumption that by moving the other ones around, it makes more space. Even look at that third rock you put in there. That's employment, some key employment issue, and then you put major projects here. Yeah, that's fair. That's called Service Community Church. Do you ever feel like this?
Yeah.
How many feel like this? You're a hands-on person.
Elaine, come sit in the back.
She just put down to sharpen the saw. How many frequently do that? I just don't have time today to sharpen the saw. You ever been too busy driving to take time to get gas?
Too busy driving to take time to get gas.
Almost. Wow. You know, if it doesn't fit, force it.
Do I have to really put all of these in there?
Well, no. You can neglect a big opportunity if you want. Here's something that's called urgent and important. It's a quadrant 1 thing that is blindsiding you, that it's your biggest client, that if you don't get back to that client now, you've given up your vacation. I'll tell you what you can do if you want to. You can work out of a different paradigm altogether. You can do anything you want.
Father, he's not fighting. That's what you're saying.
Anything, yeah.
Well, then I'd rather put these in the bottom. And then put the little pebbles on the side. Vacation,
Casey has sharpening the saw, planning preparation,
spouse,
spouse,
vacation,
employment,
big opportunity,
big opportunity,
important and urgent, block of time, community, church. Those young children keep looking at me. It's not here. No, I don't leave from that.
okay?
Can you come see him?
Gonna learn.
You got all the important things in first, right?
Right.
Okay, let's make sure that that goes off. Let's talk about that. What was his point?
You ever feel like you get
Oh,
bogged down?
Can somebody cut this off for me? Karen, if you can just come make sure this doesn't keep. Melanie, can you come make sure this is off? So what was he talking about? I want you to take time individually right now to figure out what your big rocks are. Because what was he saying in terms of your mental health, your physical health, and your ability to be the best you can be as a leader in community and in school and in eventually your profession? What was he saying? You've got to put the big rocks in first, right? You can't have all that green gravel. You know, sometimes people do it with water, but you can't have all that green gravel, all those little things that drive you crazy during the day, the unimportant things that take up time. You can't really do and be what you need to be if you don't know what your big rocks are. And Facebook could be gravel, could be green gravel, unless you're really using it to stay in touch with friends, and friends is one of your friends are one of your big rocks, right? So his point is, you've got to determine what your priorities are, what's most important to you in your life, whether it's family and friends and faith, or being the best you can be, or developing excellence in the field that you've chosen, or in music or art, as some of you are doing. You've got to make sure you know what those are so that you put them in first in your daily life. When he mentioned sharpen the saw that she had left out, that's making sure you take time to improve yourself and to take care of yourself. Sharpening the saw in terms of your mental, physical, spiritual health, as well as sharpening the saw on the skills that you need to be able to be excellent in all the areas that you want to be as leaders. So let's do this. Let's talk about at your tables, after you've taken about 3 minutes, to write down what are your big rocks. What are your big rocks? What are your priorities in your life right now as you move into thinking about college? Some of you are freshmen, thinking about what you want to accomplish in high school, and then on into your life. What are your big rocks? And let's say that you can only have 6 right now. You can only have 6 big rocks. And some of you may say, I don't have 6, I've got 4 that I want to put all my energy into. So let's see, take about 3 to 4 minutes individually and write down what your big rocks are. Table 1. What did you decide your big rocks are? Do you have a spokesperson, or are you just all going to throw in things? You're very collaborative. Okay, good.
One was definitely school, and all of our extracurriculars that came with it.
Okay, I'm going to make those 2, though, all right? Okay,
Another big one was health.
health, okay.
And relationships was also very, so friends, yeah, family.
Okay, I'm going to make those 2 because it's friends and family, right?
Well, what else? Like community service.
Community, okay. Community service,
And faith was like our last biggest one.
okay. That kind of fills it up, doesn't it? All right? Okay, there's going to be, I know that some of our speakers are going to notice some things that might be missing from these big rocks, and that's one thing that we want to try to help you think about today. All right, table 2. That's you?
Okay. Well, our first thing was our grades.
Okay. So kind of excellence in school, right? Okay.
Then our faith,
Okay.
our relationships,
And did you divide that at all?
well, it's with our friends and our family.
Okay, see, I really think you want to, sometimes you get all tied up with your friends and you forget your family, or the other way around. I've had times in my life where I was so focused on my family, for good reason, maybe one of them had a health issue or something like that, that I had to give up a little time with my friends. So that's why I'm making them 2 different big rocks, right?
And our college.
Ah, okay. So the path to and entering and doing well, right? And choosing what you want to do well in. Okay. I'm putting new words on your rocks. Anything else? Okay, well, we got some overlap, don't we? Community service was not necessarily mentioned here. Did y'all talk about it at all?
Yes.
Okay, then let's put service in there, okay? Now, you other tables, begin to think about how you can either refine or add to some of the rocks that are already in the other buckets, okay? All right, table 3.
Ours was what we believe in.
Okay, so beliefs, would we call that faith too?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, beliefs and faith.
And then friends, family.
Okay.
Time to relax.
Ah, okay. Time for myself to relax, okay?
Education and giving back to the community.
We also talked about health and opportunity.
Health and
Opportunity. So
Those are 2 separate.
2 different ones. Okay, community service, health. And is opportunity being ready to take opportunity when it comes? Okay, so ready, open to opportunity, okay? And that's a wonderful one, because if you haven't taken care of all these things and all that gravel is getting in the way of what you're trying to do, then you won't be open and ready and healthy and excellent in your skills to take advantage of opportunity. I happen to believe there's something called serendipity and synchronicity. And that is, once you clearly know where you want to go, the world opens up to you. All of a sudden, you're sitting next to someone on a plane who is exactly, because you're open to it, exactly the person you need to talk to for the next step that you need to take in your life. So that clarity, the clarity that comes from having all these things in the right priority, will help you be ready for opportunity when it comes. Okay? Table 4. Thank you, table 3. Okay? Okay? All right. And what does future mean? Okay, let's call that focus and clarity on future, okay? Because you know the future's coming. So I don't want to just put future there. I want to know what you're thinking about, okay? So could that also be college? And what else? Health, great. Yours is getting a little full here. Anything else? Sports. Okay. Now I'm interested that those of you who are musicians and artists didn't put anything about art and music and the beauty of the world, acknowledging it, being open to it. So think about that, okay? How many, and now I know we've got 3 cellists and 1 artist at least in here. I mean, we have one more and we'd have a string quartet, right? So, but we could do a trio. Maybe y'all like to come and play for graduation. We'll talk to you about that. So, tell me what this exercise did for you. Yes?
It kind of helped us understand what our priorities should be.
Good, good. And once you know what they are, what's the best thing to do? Knowing what they are. What?
Go for them.
Go for them, that's right. Early in my life, one of the things that worked for me was, just pasting them up on the wall. Where you see, in your room, on your bulletin board, so that you remember these are the important things. It also helps you what? Not sweat the small stuff, right? Because you know how every day, at the end of the day, think about how did I advance myself within my big rocks. Anybody else before we go to our next tip? Did you like this? Is it a good metaphor to think about how you move forward in your life? Great, great. I just like to get feedback. Make sure you're helping us know what we do with the academy in the spring. So that's why I'm asking these things. Okay, we are really honored to have with us today Maura Cunningham, who is a graduate of the Masters in Civic Leadership program here. It was a step for her toward her encore career. You have her bio in front of you. She is a Wall Street veteran who brings her passion for both the financial industry and the need for women in it, and her focus on the need for young people, particularly young girls, to understand and practice financial literacy to us today. She brings both of those passions to us today, and Maura, we're very happy to have you. I'm going to let them look at your bio. I'm not going to give any more because we want to hear from you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Wow, my pleasure. It's good to be back here. I was here for about 1.5 years, and I graduated in December of last year. And this room has a special meaning for me. As Linda mentioned, I'm in what we call my encore career, of which Isabel knows about. She's been one of our students in our program. So let me tell you, there we are, Rock the Street, Wall Street. Okay, we have a website. I designed that website, I'm proud to say. Okay. I, as Linda mentioned, worked on Wall Street. I was born and raised in New York City. You all know where that is, right? And I went to an all-girls high school. I'm sure some of you in the room know J-Lo. J-Lo went to my high school. from the Bronx, okay, the real tough part of New York, okay, that still hasn't gotten gentrified yet. Everywhere else has. And so I was fortunate enough to go to school and college and so forth. I was the first and only member of the 5 children to finish college. I then went immediately to Wall Street and loved it. I really loved it. I was not a math-oriented person, but I liked economics. My major was economics. How many of you are studying, do you have economics in school, by the way? Okay, cool. All right, because a lot of high schools don't. So let's back up. So which high schools, if you just kind of tell me which high schools you're from, I can relate to you a little bit better, because our program has been in a couple of the schools. Okay, let's start here. Okay, yes, we were there. We had a winter session, a week-long session last year. And I loved the girls over there. They were really good. They were really interested. Anyone else over here? Harpeth Hall, we're going there. Yes. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. All right, yeah. We are doing a 3-week program at Harpeth Hall. It's a winter session, so I'm really excited about that. We'll take a deep dive. We'll even get into derivatives, okay? Okay, yeah, that's the real high-powered, high-octane stuff. Okay, and anyone else over here? Where?
Ravenwood High School.
Okay, Ravenwood, I used to do junior achievement there, which I loved Ravenwood. We had a very good class there. Over here? Smyrna, oh, all the way from Smyrna. Okay, all right, we're hoping to expand our footprint out to bigger areas. We just crossed the county line. We're now in Sumner County in Hendersonville. So we just launched a program up there with Merrill Hyde Academic Magnet, and so.
2 from Merrill Hyde.
Who's from Merrill Hyde? Oh, really? Oh, okay, ladies. Well, we're Tuesday nights at 7, if you'd like to join us. We just started, okay? And it's funny because up there, they were willing to come back in the evening, which is rare. So they have quite a very good, solid student body up there. Over here.
Central Magnet High, Murfreesboro.
Oh, Murfreesboro. Okay, I haven't gotten there yet. We're going to get there, though, eventually. Okay, so it sounds like a combination of both private and public schools. So we've done programs at both, too, as you've heard. We've done UMFOG, MLK, East Nashville Magnet as well, and then we've done McGavick and Antioch, if you were here, anybody? And then Harpeth Hall we're doing, and St. Cecilia, and we're expanding our footprint. So you know all about that. So back to my motivation. Being on Wall Street was a challenge. I was typically in a room like this where there would be 50 men and me, okay? It was very typical that I was the only female producer in the room. A producer is someone who creates their own revenue, of which the company then takes a piece of that revenue. Revenue is income, okay? So very, very common that, again, I have 50 men and me. It didn't intimidate me in any way in the sense that I had 3 older brothers. So I was fortunate to have had 3 older brothers who kind of knocked me around all the time, and I had to elbow my way into whatever I wanted to do in spite of them trying to tell me I couldn't do it, okay? But there are a lot of girls that don't have that opportunity to have older brothers. For instance, my daughter, okay? My daughter's an only child, and she's in the financial field, and she's waking up to a couple things. She went to Harpeth Hall, and so she went to an all-girls school. So she's learning about life up there in Chicago, okay? Now she's moved back home. She just graduated, but she learned a lot up there. So my motivation was to get more girls into finance. Not only to get them in finance for a financial career, but also just to learn more about finance, be more comfortable about finance. And the reason I say that is because 7 out of 10 women, that's 70% of the women that they've polled, know nothing about finance. What do you think about that? They know nothing about finance, financial products, 70% in the United States. How do you feel about that? Do you think that?
Sad because then we have to rely so much on men, or if you married your husband or stuff to control your finances, and he'll say, well, this, and you're like, I have no clue, so you're just gonna have to do whatever. So you can't really have a part in anything.
That's very true. Very, very true. I see it among my friends. Yep.
Makes you wonder where they missed out on learning finance, whether it was in the school or whether it was their parents.
Excellent point.
Can you repeat the point? And that's all right. And everybody speak up so we can hear you.
It makes you wonder where they missed out on learning about finance, whether it was in their school system or whether it was their parents, or it was just a self thing that they didn't.
It's an excellent point, and I'll spend maybe 2 minutes on this because you should know this if you have little sisters, okay? And for you. We start losing girls in math at the age of, can you guess? Close. 9. We start losing girls in math at the age of 9, okay? And the University of Chicago, which is a fabulous school for math. Do I have any math-oriented people here? Okay, cool. Yay, Abigail. Okay, yay. But again, I wasn't geared for math specifically. I liked economics, which is a little broader, but I needed to do math. I mean, if you had told me that I would be doing math for 25 years of my career, I would have told you you were crazy in college, but I loved it. I ended up loving it. So for those of you who are not math-oriented, finance is still a good profession. But back to the University of Chicago. So they did a number of studies on girls and math. And one of the most incredible things that I found interesting, a number of things, and Linda had me do all my academic research, which she's heard me say this before, which I really reluctantly did because I lived this problem. But the academic research did show that 90% of the women who are elementary school teachers, 90% of the teachers who are elementary teachers are women, 90%, very few of which have their certificate in math. So when the teacher goes to the board and she is anxious about her own math skills, that anxiousness or anxiety gets transferred to the girls, okay? Not to the boys. And they've done studies on both. So that the girls, starting at a very early age, get the message that it's okay to not be good at math. You get that? Okay? So there are societal pressures on girls, not that that's a pressure, but that's a message that's getting through, that it's okay to not be good in math. So the girls are opting out of math at a very early age. If they don't have to take math, they're not taking it. You follow that? So hopefully we can break the cycle here with you. You're all a little older, but also if you have little sisters, just tell them to keep going with the math, okay? Another issue is, and I love teachers. I have many teachers in my family, believe me. The other issue had to do with moms, of which I'm a mom, and the moms, if they have a son and a daughter, they will encourage the son to do the math, but they won't encourage the daughter. So there again, just so you know, for your own children and for your sisters that are at home, younger sisters, please do encourage them to stick with the math, okay? And then lastly, in a family setting, the father will speak to the son about finances, but he won't speak to his daughter about it unless you ask. So you need to go home and ask your mom or your dad. If your mom is keen on finances, she can help you. If, on the other hand, it's your dad, you bring up the topic, okay? Get that? Okay, so as I said, I was typically the only female in the room 25 years ago. Fast forward to 3 weeks ago, I'm at what's called an alternative investment meeting, another alternative investment meeting here in the Southeast. And again, it's the same bunch of people, and this time it's 30 men in suits and me. And so the ratio hasn't changed. So nothing has changed in way of girls and women taking finance. So that's the whole impetus for this program. So as you can see here, do I have control of this?
You do?
Okay, well, first of all, we have a new logo. How do you like our logo? We have a bull, okay?
Does everybody know why it's a bull?
It's a bull market, right, okay? So, but what's on the bull? A butterfly, okay? All right? I'm kind of turning heads here because people who have worked on Wall Street, the bull to them is it's very iconic. It's very bullish, very macho. And so I've kind of turned it around here. So I had an interview, by the way, with Forbes magazine. And he looked at it, and he was a little perplexed by it. So we're going back and forth on that issue. But he was like, whoa, that's really different. I said, yes, it is. So anyway, this is our website. This is I don't know if I can, there we go, okay. We don't have time for this, but this is a fabulous, Isabel has seen it. This is a fabulous video on financial literacy among college kids, okay? So if you think that you don't know much in high school, they know just as much as in college, okay? And it's a really good little video on that. And then down here, one of our students, Jenny Tsai from one of the metro schools, came here, actually, Lipscomb. The Tennessee Society of CPAs, by the way, if you're interested, let Linda know, okay, and then let me know if you are interested in attending their summer camp. They have a 3-day accounting camp, and while it is accounting, and I'll be the first to tell you, I don't have a big, warm fuzzy about accounting, but it is a necessary tool for what I do. They have a 3-day free tuition accounting camp here at Lipscomb. So if you want to get a feel for a college, what it feels to dorm at a college and that kind of thing. And they went all around town meeting CFOs and CEOs, and it was really quite an experience for them to meet these leaders of the industry. In addition to which, they had about 45 students. We had 5 girls apply, 4 got in, 3 went, okay? So I highly recommend this if you have any inkling of going into business, because you will meet industry leaders throughout the city. And that's about a 2-minute video if you want me to show it.
Sure.
Okay. All right, because it's really very, very cool.
And tell us about where she wound up.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Jenny, who is a fabulous student, well, I'll tell you.
You'll hear about her now.
Sorry. I don't know. It's not loud now.
And you're going to tell them about her and then you're going to hand out.
Yes, yes,
Talk to her.
yes. How much time do you?
About 10 more minutes. Okay, so you got a little flavor there. You can see that they were traveling quite a bit around town on the buses, meeting people, meeting executives in their offices. I don't know if you're aware of this, but the chief financial officer of the Titans, couldn't get more macho, is a woman. Okay? So I want you to rethink all of this, okay? Now, Jenny, in particular, as Linda mentioned, she went on to some really cool things. She came to our session. She didn't think she wanted to do business, but wasn't sure. I think she was looking at some other things. Both of her parents, I believe, are in medicine. So she wasn't sure, and then so she decided to come to our session at UMFOG. And then she, subsequent to our session, she liked it so much, she went on to Youth About Business, which is another program that's available where you learn about mergers and acquisitions. It's available here in Nashville, so that's another thing you should be looking at is Youth About Business. Her sessions were held down at Emory University. She teamed up with some other people that she met there. She then won that competition,
okay, for mergers and acquisitions, where you learn about companies, and she had to explain the rationality behind, I think it was, behind Google buying LinkedIn. Okay? You both know those companies, I'm sure, correct? Okay? Because she had won that competition, there was then a national competition, of which it was mostly not really all that national. It was kind of east of the Mississippi, but there were about 4 or 5 different locations from around east of the Mississippi. She went to New York City, where the sessions were held at Columbia University. And there they had access to real attorneys, real accountants, real investment bankers, et cetera. And so everything got amped up, and they had to do a similar situation where her team had to argue as to why another like Facebook bought, let's see, what would they buy? I don't know, something. I forget what it was. It was some other social media. Maybe, well, they did buy Instagram, but something very similar. So she had to do the financials, she and her team. Now, in that case, she came in second. Okay, pretty good, right? And this is for a girl who wasn't sure she wanted to get into business. So she just has a natural acumen for this. So that's where we went with our program. Now, if I can get back.
You'll take them through the 10 tips now? You'll
Yes.
get into,
The 10 tips. Okay.
who do we have up there?
Okay, can you just give those out if you would? Okay. I wanted you all to have a little takeaway for moving.
Time out. Who's on the screen behind you?
I don't know.
It's like, oh, it's a video on YouTube.
Simon and
How do I?
Let's, Karen, can you just cut this off, please?
Aha, we got it.
I thought we had somebody from Skype coming in to join us. I was trying to figure out if that was
Okay.
a surprise.
I do want to show them just this page here. Last thing on the website is careergirls.com. And if all of you, even if you don't want to go into finance, how many of you know about this website? Careergirls.org. Okay? This is fabulous. Okay? This is genius. Nothing short of genius.
Matt, applause winning for WebBooks.
I don't know who that is.
Matt was just mentioning defaults, but I guess just to recap on defaults, they're very much not something that will be
How do I close him out? There we go. Okay. Okay. So this was put together. First of all, if you want to be, and then you have a drop-down menu. It's called administrative professional, architect, astronaut, attorney, a chef, an economist, engineer, executive, financial manager, journalist. Okay? You can go to this website and get some information on how to do those things. So for instance, I would go to financial manager in my classes. And she has interviewed 7 individuals, okay, about their professions. What she's done is gone around for an hour and interviewed these ladies, and then she's put them into snippets of a minute and a half. So she asks a question, and then she'll say, okay, what do I do? A typical trading day. A great part about my job, the challenges in my job. Fabulous website. If you like to do this, then you click on this button. How do I do this? And then she has, what is this job like? How do you get ready? How much does this job pay? How many jobs are there? What about the future? Okay, careergirls.org. Fabulous, fabulous website. This was put together by an African-American woman, and she has interviewed many, many women of color on here as well. And I think it's a phenomenal website. I'm always surprised at how few views the site has had, because she's done a phenomenal job. And all the girls, when I show this to them, really like this. Okay? Now, top 10 tips. Let's get to that. Okay. First tip. The sooner you start managing the money, the richer you will be. Okay? How does that work? Does anybody know? And I'm going to look here at my notes. Yes, Isabel.
If you put money in a 401k earlier, then it'll pay more interest and you'll have more later.
Right, right, yes. And over here.
Emily, the further like compound interest, not just 401ks, but any savings plan, the longer you have it in, the longer it'll earn money on itself.
Right, and you can get, so for instance, it's the beauty of compounding. For instance, in this example, they have, if you were 13, if let's say you wanted to have $10,000 at the age of 30, okay? If you started saving 78 cents a day starting at age 13, and assuming it earned about I think about 8% interest, they don't give us the interest here, you could have that $10,000 a day. So again, 78 cents to have the $10,000 starting at age 13 at 30. If you wait until age 25, you have to save $4.47 a day, okay? If you wait until the age of 29, it's $27 a day. You see the difference? Okay. So that's the reason why if you start managing your money sooner, you'll be richer. Okay. It isn't about the money. What might I mean there? Even though I said this was about money. Okay. I'm going to turn it a little bit. Yes? Yes. Okay. Time, specifically. Okay. And I give a wonderful example in here. Shopping isn't just about saving your money. It's about saving your time. Okay? Suppose, for example, that you earn $3 an hour looking after your neighbor's children. If you spend $15 on a CD in a record shop where you could have bought it for like $9 at the supermarket, then you aren't just wasting the $6 difference. Okay? You are wasting 2 hours of your time because you only make $3 every hour. You all get that? Okay? So you've wasted 2 hours of your time. That's the way you want to look at this. Okay. What is capital and what is income? Does anyone know? And these are pretty fundamental things that you need to learn. Yes?
Capital is how much you're worth, kind of how much what you have in terms of assets.
That's net worth. Good guess, though. You're right in that the total sum of my net worth is, I can look at that as capital, and you'll see why in a minute. Yes?
Isn't it the amount of money that you have to put into a company when it starts it up, like to start a company?
Yes, that's a good way, too. Yes, that's capital. In other words, when you start a business, you have to put some money in. They call that capital, too. So there's actually, it's kind of a term that has a lot of meanings. I'm going to refer to it a special way here today, though. But yes, that's true, okay? Well, let's work with that example. Okay, so you put money into a company, okay? That's the capital. So what's the income? What she makes, okay? You get that? So capital is what she put into the company, and income is what she's getting out. You see that? The way you want to think about this is kind of like a fruit tree, okay? The tree itself is the capital, and the fruit that it bears is the income. You all see that? Okay. If in doubt, just say no. What do I mean by that? Too many things in life.
To what you're talking about.
But as it relates to money.
I mean, if you're not sure, like, how much, like, if you're on a budget or something and someone asks you to go out to eat or something, you can say, and you're like, well, I don't know if I have enough money, I'll just go ahead and go, might have some later, you just say no.
That's part of it. Yep, that's part. If you can be that good, because sometimes it's hard. When it's your age and when you're a little older, I will tell you, and we had this at budgeting, one of the exercises that I have the students do is budgeting for a college student and budgeting for a young professional who has just graduated. And they didn't give her enough of a budget for entertaining. And I don't want you to make that mistake either, okay? You are working hard, you deserve some fun. In addition to which, when you get to be a professional in whatever field you're going to choose, you're going to want to get to learn and know your colleagues outside of the office. So expect to have a budget for entertaining, okay? You're going to have, we allotted $100 or $200 a month for this, for Jane. We did financial planning for Jane, for her to go out with her friends. And some in the class thought that was kind of high, and I said, well, when you start earning an income and you're with other professionals, you want to go to the right places. Not always the right places, like in New York, you have to be in the right place. But just in a nice place where you can all feel comfortable, kind of a thing, okay? So the no that they're referring to in here is, it's going to go into credit cards. So let's talk about that. The big risk with a credit cards are an expensive way to borrow money. Believe me. Does anybody know the typical interest rate on a credit card? How high? How? 15, 17%, okay? Do you think you can get that kind of rate on an investment from the bank? No way. All right, I'm glad you all know that, okay? You're lucky if you can get 1% at a bank today. In a certificate of deposit going for about 3-4 years, you can get maybe 1.5%. Okay, yet they're very happy to charge you 17% on money you owe them on the credit card. Okay, the banks issues the credit card. You all see that? Okay. The big risk with the credit card is that you will run up large debts that you have no way of paying off, which is bad news. Okay, if you need to borrow money, there are much cheaper ways to do it. Okay, you can go in. Some people have financed their college educations with credit cards. I'm here to tell you, don't do it. Okay, because those get to be massive amounts of money and massive amounts of interest. So do not use a credit card by any stretch of the imagination. Yes?
No, you have 3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay. I thought you had a question there, Linda. Okay, when you borrow, you're kissing goodbye to your future income. What do I mean by that?
If you owe someone money, then you can't get any money for yourself because you have to give it to them.
That's right. Okay, so realize when you borrow, you're kissing away your own income because you have to allocate money for that purpose. Okay, don't get caught in the minimum payment trap. What do I mean by that?
Don't pay the minimum, because that's just, a lot of times just interest, so you still have the debt, and then your FICO score is ruined.
And then your FICO score?
It's ruined.
Okay, she threw that in there. Way to go, Isabel. Okay, credit scores are not on here, but you want to keep your credit score sterling, okay, meaning the best it can be, because your credit score will affect you for the rest of your life. Just know this, your credit score is like a report card. It's your report card on how well you manage your finances. And if you have a poor report card, you may not get hired for a job, you may not get an apartment, you may not get an auto loan, you may not get a mortgage. Okay, so make sure that your credit score is kept high no matter what. Always check it once a year. You can do that free. Okay, you don't have that problem yet because you're too young, but when you start that credit card, make sure you pay it. The minimum payment is correct. Isabel's correct in that they will suggest you. Do you think the bank wants you to pay off your credit card slow or fast? Slow. Of course they do, okay, because they're collecting 17% interest, right? So of course they're going to show you the minimum payment. So they're going to psych you into thinking, oh, if I just pay $25 this month, that's fine. The reality is they're building that debt behind it for you, okay? So you want to pay a lot more than just the minimum. Okay, the language lenders use to make you feel special. How do you think they do that?
Well, like salespeople, for example, when they're trying to sell you something, they'll like try to get really personal and they'll be like trying to relate to you and make you feel really important, and then they'll be like, yeah, I'll take your money.
Yes, of course. That's one way that they do it, yes?
And then on the other side, like often banks will use words that you don't understand, you don't ask what it is, so you don't want them to think that you're dumb.
Right.
You just sign to something that like you don't understand.
Okay, good point. And you know how I would handle that? If I don't know something, I will say to them, explain that to me like I'm a 2-year-old, okay? And that takes it all out. That takes out, that I'm dumb or anything. I want them to be able to explain it to me in very clear, concise terms, okay? Because if they don't know it, and sometimes they don't even know it themselves, it'll back them up, okay? So it'll take the sting out. If you say, don't be afraid to say it in any situation that you're in. If you don't understand something, the line I used to use, and was very effective, was explain that to me like I'm a 2-year-old. Okay? Great line for whenever you don't know something. 1 minute, okay. In this case as well, they'll tell you, with regard to lenders, they'll tell you that you're specially selected. Okay? They'll play down the expense of the loan with expressions such as low cost and value for your money. Okay? Okay. You control the risk. What do I mean by that?
You're in charge of what you do.
You are in charge of what you do. Otherwise, how much risk am I willing to take? Okay, so it says here, in general, the more cautious you are, the less reward you will have. So for instance, a CD, you'll get, it's solid money, but you'll get a low interest rate. Whereas a stock, you can get a high rate of return. For instance, if you were in Tesla, well, Tesla's going down at the moment, Google, Apple stock this year, you've done phenomenally well. Google is up about a tremendous amount this year, about 20-30%. But there's a risk it can go way down, like Tesla went way down. Tesla's a car, you all know Tesla, it's an electric car. It's had a series of fires lately in their cars. The stock is plummeting, okay? So that's the risk you take. Insurance doesn't provide total cover. I'll just tell you there's something called a deductible. Make sure you know your deductible when you're getting insurance, whether it's property and casualty or life insurance or health insurance, okay? And don't be an ostrich. What do I mean by that? The final point, don't be an ostrich. Right, and like it or not, girls have a tendency to do that, okay? Don't rely on dad, don't rely on your husband, okay? A good mate in a relationship will hold herself responsible for knowing some of these things, okay? So my last piece of advice is don't be an ostrich. It's not going to go away. You have to handle your problems, okay? And so that's about it. I'm thrilled to have been here. Check out our site, Rock the Street, Wall Street. And if you have interest in the program coming to your school, let me know. I've left a couple cards out there for y'all. Okay, thank
Mara's
you.
going to be